Hello everyone. So let us see what pointers are and how you can use the pointers in the C++ language. So since you have learned the basic fundamental data types in C++, we have integers, we have floating point. We used double as the data type and also void, right? But if I say pointer is a special type, pointer is also known as the derived data type. So here each variable is assigned. Let's suppose if you take an integer, right? So this is an integer variable a, and that is assigned some value. It's just the random value. And let's suppose since the memory address, I mean the variable is given the memory addresses. So let's suppose the a variable which is holding the value 100 is stored at 1024. So this is just random memory address. It's not the actual notation for the memory address. We denote it in hexadecimal, but just for the sake of example I have used the number 1024. So a variable is holding certain value, and this variable is stored at this location 1024, right? And let's suppose I have one more variable b, and b is stored somewhere here, right? So each and every variable, each and every data type, let's suppose if you have double data type or if you use float data type, so every assigned value or every variable needs some storage. Okay. So now, if I say pointer holds the address of some data type or some basic data type variables. So if a is stored at location 1024, so my pointer would be here, somewhere here. It can be any location, but the value that is stored by this pointer would be the address of that variable. So if a is stored at 1024, the pointer to a will hold the memory address of that particular variable. Okay, so pointer is to store only the memory address. It's not the value assigned, it's not the value that is given by the user, but it holds the memory address, and this memory address is the reference to the variable that you are using. So if you are using the integer is holding some value and it is stored at this location, so my pointer would be holding that memory address for those variable, right? So it is also known as the derived data type. Why? Because you have basic data types, the standard data types that are available, like integer, float, character. So all these are basic data types. But pointer is known as the derived data type because you use the basic data type, and the address of basic data type is stored in the pointers data type. Okay, so this is a very simple example. You have this diagram. In this diagram, on the left side, this is the domain of the character constant. Domain refers to what all values are acceptable and what all values can be taken by the characters. So, character, since you all know, is a single character. So, it's a single letter words. You can take capital, you can take small letter words. So all these character constant are acceptable, and this complete domain is the character constant domain. So so a variable with the name, obviously user defined name a char is used here, and the value of this a char is given like it's g, capital G, right? So this capital G is from the domain of character constant. So this variable has a variable name a char, the value is g, and the address is some random memory address, that is 145600. Okay, so let's see what pointer constants are. So pointer constants are, if you see the left side, it's the domain for character constant, right? And G is P is the value that is taken from the character constant domain. And if you see the right side, so this is the memory domain, that is the acceptable range of the memory addresses that is available with the CPU for the allocation of the variable. So this is the complete acceptable domain. So you start with 0, 6 times 0, and then you end with and then you end with 1048576, some random memory address, right? So this is the on the right side is the pointer constants. Okay, so let us see the first example. If you want to print the address of the characters, so you have character A and B, and if you want to print the address, so you can refer it by ampersand, that is and symbol, and you can write A or and symbol B. So this is character as a simple variable, as a basic data type. And if you want to print the addresses, it's cout and A and B. Okay, so this again example shows you, see the diagram first. You have the memory addresses 10201024 and so on, and you have the variables. So in this particular example, there are two variables. It's A with storing the value 88, B is storing the value 100, right? So if you see this particular program, integer A and B are variables that are declared. A is holding certain value and B is holding another value. So A is given the value 88 and B is given the value 100. Okay, so if I want to print the addresses of these two, so I can print it directly with ampersand A and ampersand B. So the result would be where these variables are stored. So it's the memory location 1020 and 1024. Okay, so next we see what the constants are. And again, since every data type has its domain and range of values, and so does the integer constant. So if you see on the left side, it's the integer constants, and the domain of integer constant contains all the acceptable values that can be given to an integer data type variable. So A is given the value, let's suppose minus 123, again acceptable and within the domain. B is given the value 145, acceptable and within the domain of integer constant. So these are the integer variables. The name of the identifiers are A and B, and they are holding certain value, that is integer values. So these minus 123 and 145 is the integer value, and these both these are the memory addresses, or where these actual the variables are stored. Okay, so if we see the physical representation and the logical representation, so in physical representation, the variable, that is like suppose integer is used. So integer A is holding a value and is stored at a location 2342560. It's just the random number, and P is again a variable. Just imagine that right now it's a simple variable and it is storing the address now. So since you all know that the addresses are stored by the pointer, so you can think of this variable as the pointer variable. So this pointer variable is holding 234560 as the value in itself. Now, if you see the logical representation of this pointer, so P is pointing to the variable integer, that is A, with the value minus 123. So P is a pointer and P is pointing to this variable integer, and integer is having certain value. So pointer is not having its own value, pointer is having the value of the address where this particular variable is stored. Okay, so in the next video, we'll explore about multiple pointers to a variable, and also how the multiple pointers can be used with the different variables.